Hello, beautiful souls. Have you ever felt that real clarity comes not from pushing harder, but from letting go? Today in our Wheel of Wisdom series, we're diving into clarity. The kind of clarity that reveals itself when we stop trying to control and start trusting the flow of life. Stay with me because I'm sharing a story that taught me about clarity in the deepest, most unexpected way. And by the end, I'll guide you through some simple practices to help me find peace and might just open a new door for you too. There was a time in my life when I thought I had everything figured out. I could see my dream so clearly, it felt like it was right there within reach. And then, in a single moment, everything I held on to so tightly slipped away. That experience changed me. It taught me that sometimes clarity comes not from holding on, but from the courage to let go. Welcome to the Wheel of Wisdom series. This is a place where we explore the qualities that can open us up to a more meaningful, connected life. Today's story is close to my heart, and I hope that by the end, you'll feel that spark of clarity in your own life. The kind that comes from trusting rather than forcing. Years ago, I was living downtown Toronto with my partner Jen. We loved the city, the energy, the people, the vibrancy of it all. But beneath all that love, part of us was longing for something different, something quieter, a different rhythm. We wanted a sanctuary, a place where we could feel at peace with nature around us. Then one day out of nowhere, we found it. A beautiful house on the water, surrounded by trees, limestone cliffs, and a dock stretching out over the lake. I can still remember that feeling when we first saw it, this overwhelming sense of, this is home. We looked at each other, and in that silent moment, we knew this was it. As we toured the property, I could already feel myself there. I could see us waking up with the sun, sipping coffee on the dock, watching the mist rise off the lake in the mornings. It was the kind of place that made time stand still, where life could slow down and we could just breathe. But just as everything felt like it was aligning, life had other plans. We were days away from making the dream ours when that call came. Our agent's voice sounded different, a little hesitant. She told us the couple were no longer selling the house. They'd panicked and decided out of nowhere to take it off the market. It felt like someone had pulled the rug out from underneath us. I remember just sitting there with phone in hand, just trying to process what I'd just heard. How could something that felt so right, so meant to be, just vanish? There's a kind of quiet heartbreak in losing something that was never really yours to begin with. But I wasn't ready to give up. I thought, no, this is still meant for us. We'll make it happen. And so we poured our heart into bringing that dream to life. Every morning, I'd sit quietly and visualize us living in that house. Jen and I created vision boards. We said affirmations. We pictured that home as if it was already ours. Every inch of our being was focused on making it real. But as the months dragged on, that joyful vision started feeling more like a heavy weight. 6 months later, nothing changed. The house was still out of reach, and every time I pictured it, what once had been a feeling of peace and excitement was now tight with frustration. I was holding on so tightly that the dream had turned into something painful. Almost a year later, we hit a breaking point. We were tired of waiting, the pushing, the constant hoping. We could feel that all our effort, all our grasping had left us exhausted. And then one evening I looked at Jen, and with a heavy heart I said, maybe it's time to let go. Maybe it just isn't meant to be. And in that quiet moment, we made the decision to release it. Not because we didn't want it, but because holding on was costing us our peace, and frankly, it was exhausting us. We tore up our vision board, we set aside the plans we had so carefully made, and decided to start fresh in our lives as they were. The next morning, as I was preparing to head to the hardware store to start renovating the studio we lived in, the phone rang. I almost ignored it, but something nudged me to pick it up. It was our agent. The couple had changed their minds again. The house was back on the market, and they were ready to sell. I could hardly believe it. By that afternoon, we had made an offer, and before the day's end, it was ours. It was as if the moment we truly let go, life stepped in and gave us what we'd been asking for all along. That experience showed me that letting go isn't about giving up. It's about creating the space for what's meant for us to flow in unhindered. This journey taught me that clarity and peace come not from forcing things into place, but from trusting that life has a timing of its own. Here are a few practices that helped me then and I still use now to stay open to clarity. Let go of the need to control. It's human nature to want things to happen on our terms. We all have dreams, goals, desires, but sometimes holding on too tightly makes us blind to other possibilities. There's a kind of freedom in realizing we don't have to control everything. Sometimes we cling so tightly to our dreams that we create tension and anxiety. Letting go doesn't mean giving up on what we want. It means trusting that if it's meant to happen, it will. Maybe in a way even better than we imagined. But when we release that tight grip, we create a space of openness for new possibilities. Embrace change in life's rhythm. Everything in life is always shifting. Our thoughts, our emotions, the world around us. Trying to hold everything in place only creates resistance. Embracing change helps us flow with life rather than resist it. Imagine yourself as a river, not a rock. Let life's current carry you instead of clinging to each moment. With this openness, we can see more clearly and feel more at peace. There's a kind of peace that comes when we begin to trust that life has a bigger plan for us, even if we can't always see what it is. It's not easy to trust though, is it? We want to believe that we're in control, that if we just work hard enough or plan well enough, we'll get exactly what we're aiming for. But life doesn't always work that way. And sometimes we find ourselves pushing and struggling, pouring everything we have into our goals, only to watch them drift further away or even disappear altogether. Maybe you felt this in your own life, working so hard for something, wanting it so deeply, but despite all your effort, things just don't seem to line up. It's natural to feel frustrated or even lost when things aren't going the way we expect. That's where the idea of a larger plan becomes a real comfort. What if instead of having to control every detail, we could just do our best and let life take the lead, trusting that there's a wisdom at work that might understand what's best for us, even when we can't see it ourselves. I know that sounds a little abstract, but look at it this way. When we plant seeds, we don't stand over them and shout, "Grow, grow!" We give them time, sunlight, and water. But ultimately, we trust in the natural rhythm of growth. In the same way, I've come to see that when we plant our own intentions in life, we need to nurture them. But we also need to give them space to grow in their own time and way. Trusting life's plan doesn't mean we sit back passively and hope things fall into place. It means we show up with an open heart and clear intention, doing our part, and then letting go enough to allow life to take over from there. It's about finding a balance between effort and ease, between doing our best and knowing when to let go. One thing I've learned is that this kind of trust often requires a bit of humility. We have to be willing to accept that maybe, just maybe, we don't have the whole picture yet. And that's okay. There have been times when I've wanted something so badly, I couldn't imagine why it wasn't happening. I couldn't see any good reason for the delay. But looking back, I can see how many of those delays, some of those unexpected twists, were actually setting me up for something better, or leading me toward a lesson that I've needed to learn first. Think about your own life. Are there moments you can look back on where things didn't go as planned, but later you saw how it actually worked out in a way you couldn't have expected? Sometimes those detours end up being the very thing that brings us closer to who we're meant to be, or to something even better than we originally wanted. Ultimately, trusting life's plan is an act of faith in the larger unfolding of our lives. It's about saying, I'll do my part, I'll give it my best, and then I'll let go. Allowing whatever is meant to come in its own time and way. When we can live with that trust, life starts to feel a little less like a struggle and a little more like a dance. A dance between ourselves and the mystery of the universe. Life isn't just about the highs or avoiding the lows. It's about embracing the whole journey. Each moment, each experience has its purpose if we're willing to see it. Imagine watching your life unfold like a movie. You wouldn't jump into the screen and try and change the storyline. When we observe without needing to control, we find a deep, quiet sense of peace. It's taken me, my whole life to even just scratch the surface of understanding unconditional love. Unconditional love is meant to feel light. It's the kind of love that you can sit back and say, I care about you, and I trust you to walk your own path. I don't need you to be any certain way for me to feel okay. This doesn't mean that you let people treat you poorly or stay in relationships that aren't healthy. It means that we choose to love in a way that's free of the pressures to change or control. And here's where the peace comes in. When we love without trying to control, we release ourselves from the tension of needing everything to go a certain way. We stop obsessing over whether the other person is doing enough or whether the relationship is going anywhere. Instead, we just appreciate the connection as it is, right here, right now. We let go of the demands and expectations that can weigh down a relationship. And in that space, real peace has room to grow. It might sound simple, but this kind of love takes practice. It's a daily choice to remind ourselves, I don't own this person and they don't complete me. They add to my life, yes, but they're not responsible for my happiness. When we love this way, we feel lighter because we're no longer carrying the weight of trying to control or hold on to something else. We're giving them and ourselves the freedom to simply be. Think about a flower in nature. It's beautiful because it's allowed to grow in its own free and unforced way. We don't stand over it and tell it how to bloom. We let it be. True love is the same. It's about nurturing and appreciating without trying to mold or control. It's about saying, I see you, I accept you, and I support you in being who you are. And in doing that, we find a kind of peace that doesn't come and go based on how the other person's behaving. It's a peace that lasts because it's rooted in freedom. So here's some simple practices for letting go. Finding clarity through silence. Imagine carving out just a few quiet moments each day. No distractions, no demands. Just a space for you to be without needing to do or fix anything. In our busy lives, this kind of stillness can feel rare, almost like a luxury. But even a few moments can have a profound effect, bringing us a calm that stays with us long after. Stillness isn't about stopping your thoughts or meditating perfectly. It's simply about letting yourself pause. Find a comfortable place, close your eyes, if that feels right, and just breathe naturally. Thoughts will come, and that's okay. Imagine them as clouds just drifting across the sky. There's no need to grab onto them. Just notice each thought, let it pass, and allow your mind to settle. These few moments of quiet act like a reset button. In stillness, our minds can clear, creating space for calm and clarity to naturally emerge. Think of it like a glass of muddy water. When you stop stirring, the dirt starts to settle at the bottom, and the water becomes clear. Our minds are similar. When we give them a chance to rest, we reconnect with a sense of ease that's often buried beneath the noise. Over time, this daily habit of stillness helps us carry that calm into the rest of our lives. We start to feel less reactive to stress and more centered, more open to our insights and feelings. So give it a try. Start with just a few minutes. Let it be a gift to yourself, a time to simply breathe and be, a time when clarity and calm can gently unfold. Observe without reacting. When emotions arise, just notice them. This simple shift can open a whole new perspective. Sometimes the thoughts that cloud our minds are the very things that keep us from seeing clearly. They can build up over time, small worries, lingering doubts, ideas left unfinished, until one day we're carrying a weight we didn't even realize we'd picked up. Writing is a simple yet powerful way to clear that mental clutter and bring ourselves back to a place of clarity. Think of it like giving your thoughts a place to rest outside of your mind. When we write down what's weighing on us, we're just recording words on paper. We're making space for ourselves to breathe, to step back, and to see things from a fresh perspective. By releasing our thoughts, even just for a moment, we're creating a kind of mental reset. Here's a simple way to start. Grab a piece of paper and a pen, or even a notes app on your phone, and just begin writing down whatever is on your mind. There's no need for structure, no need for grammar. No one will see this but you. Let the words flow without judgment or editing. Imagine each thought as a leaf drifting down a gentle stream. As you write, envision those thoughts leaving your mind and floating away. This process isn't about solving anything right away. It's about letting your mind release what it's holding on to. You might write down worries, things you're unsure about, or even random thoughts that just keep popping up. The act of writing itself helps create distance. It gives you a chance to see each thought more clearly. Sometimes you'll find that as you let these thoughts go, solutions or insights begin to appear on their own. Other times, it's just the release that brings a sense of calm and clarity. Making this a habit, even for just a few minutes each day, can help lighten the mental load we carry. It frees up space in our minds, allowing us to approach our day with more openness, less tension, and as a bonus, you might find that certain patterns or insights emerge over time, helping you understand yourself on a deeper level. Writing and releasing is about creating clarity by letting go of the thoughts that no longer need to live in our minds. It's a way to free up mental space, giving ourselves permission to let go and move forward with a clearer, lighter perspective. Practice gratitude. Saying thank you for all we have, as it is, helps us accept life as it unfolds. So how do these practices create clarity? Clarity is about seeing life as it truly is, without the haze of fears or expectations. Each of these practices creates space, allowing us to live with a clearer, open heart. Letting go is not giving up. It's about trusting that life has a rhythm and a flow, and that when we create space, we allow what's meant for us to come through naturally. My journey has taught me that sometimes the very best things in life come to us when we stop gripping so tightly, and when we open our hands and release our need to control every detail, and allow life to surprise us. It sounds so simple, but letting go can be one of the hardest things to do. We often cling to our plans, our expectations, or even our fears, because it feels better than letting the unknown in. But holding on too tightly can blur our vision, clouding our ability to see what life is trying to show us. There's a kind of clarity that only comes when we create space, when we ease our grip and allow things to unfold as they're meant to. Think of a time when you've tried to make something happen, forcing it, pushing every step, only to end up feeling frustrated or drained. Then maybe after finally letting go, something unexpected happened. It's as if, in the act of releasing, we make room for life to do its magic, to bring in what's truly aligned with us. For me, letting go has been like standing back and watching a fog lift. When we release our need to control every detail, we open up to new perspectives, to possibilities we might have overlooked in our single-minded focus. It's like allowing the dirt to settle in a glass of water. The moment we stop stirring, clarity begins to emerge. And when we step back, we create a space where the right opportunities, the right answers, and the right people can find us. So I invite you to take a look at your own life. Is there something you're holding on to too tightly? A goal? A relationship? A worry? Maybe it's an expectation of how things should be, or a fear of what might happen if you let go. Ask yourself, what would it feel like to loosen my grip just a little, to allow a bit of space around this thing I've been holding on to? Imagine what it might feel like to let go of the need to control and to trust, even for just a moment. That what's meant for you will find its way to you. Sometimes clarity arrives not through searching or striving, but by making room for life to surprise us. When we let go of our expectations, we create an open space that invites clarity, peace, and perhaps even something wonderful we hadn't planned for. So where in your life could you open your hands just a little and trust the process? Where could you allow life to bring in what's truly meant for you? Thank you for spending this time with me. It means a lot to be able to share these stories and insights with you. If something in today's journey resonated, maybe a moment that reminded you of your own life, or a thought that brought you even a little bit of clarity, I'd love for you to share this video with someone who might need that same sense of calm and perspective. Sometimes the smallest insights can make the biggest difference, especially when we least expect them. As always, I'll leave you with a Spirit Fractal on clarity. Take a moment with it, let its energy settle over you, bring in a bit of calm and hopefully a sense of openness and insight. Clarity isn't always about knowing everything right away. It's often about creating space to breathe and feel centered, allowing the answers to emerge in their own time. So I invite you to let the Spirit Fractal work as a gentle reminder, a visual anchor that helps you connect back to your own inner clarity whenever you need it. If there's a topic or a quality you'd like to see explored in a future Spirit Fractal, I'd love to hear about it in the comments. Each Spirit Fractal is created or channeled with intention, and your ideas and experiences mean a lot to me. This journey we're on together is truly a shared one, and I hope you'll join me next time as we continue exploring the Wheel of Wisdom. Our next attribute is understanding. a quality that takes the clarity we've been building and uses it to deepen our compassion, our perception, and our connection to others. Until then, remember to hold space for a little stillness, a little openness, and trust that clarity will continue to grow within you. Thank you.